This is a video about the very basics of the Electoral College. So this is the form through which the American government selects a new leader. This is unique to the United States, this form of election. So imagine that each state is having its own election. So instead of all of the votes of the whole country being tabulated, there is a mini election in each state. Now, based on how many people live in each of those states, the winner of each of those mini elections will get a certain amount of points. Those points are called electoral votes. So for example, here in Washington state, because we have a certain amount of people, we get 12 electoral votes, 12 points. The minimum amount of points or electoral votes a state can have is 3. So you'll see some of the states that have the least amount of people in the country only have 3 points to award. Whereas some states that have lots of people, like New York or Texas or California, have lots of points to award. Now, when each state has their election, the winner of that election in the state wins all of the points. Whether you win, for example, the election in Washington by 1 vote or by 1,000,000 votes, you win all 12 points. So if Joe Biden, for example, got 1 more vote than Donald Trump in Washington, he would win all 12 of the electoral votes, all 12 points. There are a total of 538 points, or again, electoral votes, total. That means that to win the presidency, you need to get a majority, which is 270. So how does someone win the Electoral College with less votes overall? Let's imagine this very basic scenario where we have a square state and a triangle state. Imagine the square state has 100 people and it gets 10 electoral votes. Again, so like 10 points. The triangle state has 150 people, so it gets 15 electoral votes, or 15 points to award. So each state has its own election. In square state, all 100 people vote. In triangle state, 150 people vote. Now, in the square state, candidate A gets 80 of the votes and candidate B gets 20. So candidate A wins pretty handily. So candidate A, because they win, gets those 10 electoral votes. Again, kind of like points, 10 points. In the triangle state, it's a lot closer. So candidate B wins in the triangle state, but only by 2 votes. So 74 people vote for candidate A, 76 people vote for candidate B. But remember, it doesn't matter how close it is. It just matters who wins. So in this state, candidate B wins, and so they get 15 electoral votes. So after these 2 states, candidate A gets 10 electoral votes, candidate B gets 15. Candidate A won square state and gets the 10. Candidate B wins triangle state and gets the 15. But if you were to add all of their votes together, candidate A overall got 154 votes, whereas candidate B only got 96 votes, right? Because candidate A won by a lot here, got 80 votes and then 74 votes, whereas candidate B got barely any votes in this state, but got just enough in this state to win. So although candidate B got 15 electoral votes and candidate A only got 10, overall, candidate B got less votes. So if you imagine this extrapolated over 50 states, this is how, through the Electoral College, although it's rare, it is possible for someone to win less overall votes and still win the most electoral votes, or the most points, and thus the presidency, as Donald Trump did.